Vince.
Oh, Terry.
Should start calling you the Oracle because you saw it coming.
Last week I said I had egg on my face because I tipped against Carlton and I tipped Collingwood. Today, I feel like I've got 10 times more egg on my face for tipping Carlton.
Oh, no! You went a week early.
I drank the Kool-Aid, mate. I fell for the trap. They do it to me every time. I feel the pain of all of the supporters. Look, I feel sport being the age I am, having seen as much, success as most people with Carlton. But I take my hat off to any of you guys, including you, Terry. I mean, you're only 30, so you haven't seen too much in your lifetime, and you keep sticking by us. But if there's one thing I am starting to see and hear, and I've listened through just about every single one of your viewers tonight that have come on, they're getting sick and tired of it to the point where they have had a gutful. They have had enough. They're done. I know that there's four more games and they'll probably come on next week and all the other weeks, but I reckon they've put the cue in the rack. Psychologically and mentally, they've invested a lot into the club and they just don't see any real improvement. Before today's game, we had 7 wins from 17 games. It's exactly the same as what we had last year, 7 wins from 17 games. Because last year we only played every other team once. Our percentage before the start of this game was 93.9. Last year it finished on 94.3, so it's basically the same. But after today, losing to the bottom team, one of the reasons I tipped Carlton today was because we've proven all year that we can beat all of the sides around us on the ladder, whether they be below us or just above us. All of those teams that are sort of positioned 10th or below, we've been able to beat them all. Including Collingwood last week, which, of course, we lost to in round 2. But, so far, the only teams we've really lost to have been all the top 8 teams. But to lose to bottom place North Melbourne, that's going to cost someone their job, mate. And I'm sorry to say this, and I know a lot of people think, no, we should stick with the coach for at least 3 years. That's his contract. And, none of the other coaches that have, been successful did much in their first couple of years. And I agree with that. But I just know how the Carlton board operates. If they can't sell, if nothing else, Carlton has become the Carlton corporate club. And they need to sell something. They need to sell a message and to sell hope and to sell some sort of belief that, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and everyone should jump on board and be part of that. What are they going to be able to sell into next year, really? I can't see Luke Sayers as an incoming president accepting this level of, performance. It's just mediocrity upon mediocrity. Now, he's been part of the board for 9 years, but if he wants to establish himself as a new president with higher standards and a demand, not just an expectation, but to demand success, he's going to need to get that message through at the very start. And I see that this review, which is apparently due at the end of this week, due to be completed, I can't see David Teague surviving it. I just can't. I think that's a tough call on him, but knowing Carlton the way they are and the Messiah mentality, if you like, that exists at the club and the need to, sell something, I just don't know how they're going to sell sponsorships and memberships and all that sort of thing going next year based on performances like this year. I think one of the other guys mentioned earlier that we haven't had even an upset win over anybody.
Yep.
We've probably the highest ranked team at the moment is Essendon. That's if they stay in the 8. But there's also a chance that they may not finish in the 8. If you want to call that an upset win, I wouldn't call it an upset win. If you upset a Western Bulldogs or a Melbourne or a Brisbane or a Port Adelaide or a Geelong, yeah, then I'd say it's an upset, but not an Essendon. So there's nothing to hang your hat on. in terms of hope and anything. I mean, all you can do is say, oh, well, we expect to get a few more players back. We expect Charlie Curnow to play next year. We expect Brodie Kemp to be, blooded into the team next year. We expect David Cunningham to come back. But are they going to make all the difference? I don't think so. I think the coaching staff have got a lot to answer for. I think all year their selection integrity has been very, very questionable. Where they've played their players, that many times they've played them out of position. And without success, I just fear that David Teague has probably just signed his own senior coaching career death warrant today against his old team that he used to play for.
True.
Before he played for us. But anyway.
He said he had a soft spot for him in his press conference on Thursday or Friday. So anyway. Let's see how we go, mate.
Anyway, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just, I'd be very surprised if this review does not claim a major scapegoat, because that's the main reason it was called for in the first place, to give the board something as a basis to then cut people off and use them as the scapegoat. And I think, from one point of view, it stinks because they never apply the same standards to themselves. It's their strategies, their rebuild. All of that was stemming from the board. And none of them have been prepared to say, you know what, we got this wrong. We should stand aside. They all just keep replacing coaches and, administration staff, whether it be CEOs or director of football, et cetera, et cetera. It's always down the chain. But I think it was Jad that said before, nothing's going to change at board level. He was 100% right. Nothing is going to change unless there is a red-hot challenge. And that means a ticket of people who come together and say, we're going to put ourselves up as an alternative and we're going to create an EGM, like what's happening at Collingwood, and we're going to give our members a choice, because at the moment the members don't have a choice. Even if they have an alternative of one person on the board, one person out of 8 is not going to change the board. It's only a ticket that's going to change it. And by and large, this current group of people on the board, and some of them have come and gone during this time, but essentially the people that are really pulling the strings at the board level, they've been in charge now for damn near 10 years or more. I think it's time for them to accept that, hey, they've had a decent go at it. Their strategies haven't worked, and it's time not just for us to pass the baton down from Le Giudice to Sayers, but to say, you know what, all of us should, if anything, vacate our positions, even if we want to go up again and retain those positions.
Yeah.
We should spill the positions and allow the members to either give us the vote of confidence to keep going, or if they choose to have a new set of people on the board, this is their opportunity to do it.
I like it.
But you've got to be prepared to go up for it.
It's very true.
Anyway, mate, food for thought.
Always.
I'm surprised I haven't approached you, Mr. Degani.
Maybe. We'll see how we go.
Anyway.
All right, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Keep our fingers crossed for next week against St Kilda, but we're going to have our work cut out, I can tell you.
I can't wait for it.
All right, mate. All the best.
See you, mate.